It's Wednesday, October 2nd, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Government appears willing to forgo an estimated $800 million that hotel giant Sandals Resorts International intends to pump into the economy over a 2-year period on the construction of the beach's property. This as the stalemate between government and resort officials lingers. Tourism Minister Kerry Simmons told reporters on Tuesday government has made it clear that it would not be changing its position.
What they want is a commitment from government that there will, by this government, that there will never be a future government ever in Barbados that will not decide that they are going to impose a level of taxation on that company. And we cannot tie the hands of generations not yet born. And we will not propose to try to do so. It would be a wrong thing, I think, and I'm sure you would agree with me. If your son became Prime Minister of Barbados one day, for him then to have to say that, well, 40 years before he was born or whatever, Kerry Simmons and Amir Motley got together and decided that they would do that. We can't do that. The reality is that it would be unconscionable. So we've drawn the line on that matter.
The board of the Sanitation Service Authority to meet today for a decision on a number of innovative measures to address mounting piles of garbage across the island. Word of this from Environment Minister Trevor Prescott. However, he's keeping these likely new measures close to his chest, insisting that whatever decision is made by the board must not be to the workers' detriment.
There are proposals. Some people might even reach the stage where the proposals are rejected. But obviously the opinions that are coming from the general public will be taken into consideration as alternatives. I can't tell you at present which ones will be accepted, but rest assured that as soon as I get a clear word of what was the decision of the board and I approve it, and I carry the decision before the Cabinet of Barbados, you just get back in contact with me.
Solutions Barbados backs government's plans to improve the housing stock of Barbados by implementing mandatory building codes. Party leader Grenville Phillips said such a move was too long in coming and applauded Prime Minister Mia Mottley for taking the lead on the issue. He was speaking to Barbados Today on the sidelines of a national consultation on building for disaster resilience at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center yesterday.
It is very much needed. So regardless of what happened in the past, I'm happy that this, not just a conversation, but actually doing something about it. The last Prime Minister, Stewart, expressed that he was flabbergasted at the fragility of housing accommodation in Barbados. That's what he said. When he was looking at the damage from Tropical Storm Thomas, I think it's 2010, I think.
Yeah.
So we know that the housing accommodation is very fragile. We know that we are extremely vulnerable to a significant hurricane and earthquake, actually. So the Prime Minister is doing an excellent job in focusing on this issue now, especially after Dorian.
However, Phillips, an engineer by profession, said government might need to look at rewriting the building codes put in place in 2013.
We now don't really have a useful building code for homeowners, for contractors of houses. So that in 2013 was abolished. We had it in 1993. In 1993, we had the Barbados National Building Code that was a very user-friendly document. It could be understood by contractors and homeowners and anyone in the construction industry. It was then replaced with the 2013 version in 2013, and that cannot be understood by any homeowner or contractor. The structural section can only be understood by experienced structural engineer. So that doesn't help the homeowner.
Okay.
It doesn't help what we're trying to do here.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Root Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region now. In the Bahamas, officials from the Inter-American Development Bank have been visiting the battered island of Abaco, getting a first-hand look at the devastation left behind by Hurricane Dorian. More in this report from ZNS News.
A complete assessment from a financial perspective will be presented to the government. Yesterday, the president of the IDB, Louis Albert Moreno, led a team into the island yesterday following a meeting with the prime minister and other Bahamian officials.
I basically came here to the Bahamas to not only show our solidarity, but more importantly, from the minute that the disaster happened, we made a donation for disaster relief. But more importantly, we're thinking, as we are, we're not a relief agency, we're basically a development institution, and as such, we're looking at how to help rebuild Grand Bahama and the Abaco family islands. And in this context, we've been looking at a number of things. First of all, we had an emergency line of credit of $100 million that the government of Bahamas can use as it seen the needs to do some of the reconstruction and the immediate reconstruction in terms of getting the energy back up, getting the water, working and in the initial phases of all the removal of the debris.
And finally, the UK government said it's offering the EU very constructive and far-reaching proposals to break the Brexit impasse. That's according to Prime Minister Boris Johnson as the October 31 deadline approaches. He confirmed to the BBC's Laura Kunsberg that the UK's plan would include some customs checks on the island of Ireland after Brexit.
How would you describe what you will put forward?
Well, what I can say is that, and I think this is crucial for everybody to understand, because this is just the limit of what a sovereign country can do. If the EU is going to insist on customs checks as we come out, as it is, then we will have to accept that reality, and there will have to be a system for customs checks away from the border. Now, we think that those checks can be absolutely minimal and non-intrusive and won't involve new infrastructure, but that is absolutely, Laura, that is where the argument is going to be, and that's where the negotiation will be tough.
But to be really clear about that, it wouldn't be the EU insisting on checks happening somewhere. If we are in two different economic systems, of course there would have to be checks. Well, and that seems to be, the idea of that seems to be toxic to a lot of people. So isn't this just you putting forward similar proposals to what have been suggested that have been turned down so many times before?
Well, let's see where we get to. And as you know, we've made some very constructive and far-reaching proposals.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Do have a wonderful day.